You've probably heard a million times that if you want to change your life, you need some huge, dramatic overhaul, right? But what if the biggest transformations actually come from the little habits you barely even notice? Today, we're diving into 6 habits that seem kind of boring, but have the power to start rewiring your brain instantly. I mean, really think about that for a second. We see it all the time in movies, the sudden breakthrough, the life-changing moment of crisis. But is that really how lasting change happens for most of us? Does growth have to be this big, painful drama? Well, we're here to challenge that whole idea.
So, here's the deal. The myth we're sold is this idea of a radical, overnight transformation, tearing it all down and starting fresh. But the reality, the one that's actually backed by science, is a lot quieter. And honestly, it's way more powerful. It's all about the small, consistent things you do every single day. That's where the magic really happens.
Okay, so to really get why these small habits are so effective, we have to talk about the incredible hardware we're all working with, our brains. And the first thing you absolutely need to understand is a concept called neuroplasticity.
Neuroplasticity is a complete game changer. What it means is your brain isn't set in stone. It's much more like clay. Every single thought you have, every action you take, it physically changes your brain. It's constantly adapting and rewiring itself based on what you do and experience.
Let me paint a picture for you that makes this super clear. It's called the path in the forest metaphor. Imagine walking through a dense forest for the very first time. It's tough, right? You're pushing branches out of the way. But if you walk that exact same path the next day and the day after that, it gets a little easier each time. Pretty soon, you've worn a clear path that becomes your default route. That is exactly what's happening in your brain when you build a new habit. You are literally carving a new road.
All right, let's get into our first boring but brilliant habit. This one is all about building momentum. You know the saying, win the morning, win the day? Well, there's a lot of truth to that.
The idea here is deceptively simple. Before you check your phone, before you get sucked into email, just accomplish one single meaningful thing. It doesn't have to be massive. It could be writing one page, meditating for 5 minutes, or just planning out your day. This little action sends a powerful signal to your brain that says, hey, we're in charge here and we get things done. It's a psychological win that you carry with you for the rest of the day.
This quote from Carl Weick just nails it. A small win isn't just about feeling good for a second. It's tangible proof of your own competence. It builds real confidence and makes that next, bigger task feel way less intimidating. You're basically creating your own positive feedback loop.
So, you've started the day strong, you've got this great momentum going. Awesome. But now what? How do you keep it going? That initial burst of energy is a precious resource, and believe me, our modern world is practically designed to drain it.
And this brings us straight to our second habit, which is all about preservation. It's about fighting back against something called decision fatigue. Think of your willpower like a muscle, or maybe even like the battery on your phone. It gets tired with overuse. Every single choice you make during the day, from what to wear to what to eat for lunch, it drains that battery just a little bit. By the end of the day, you're much more likely to make lousy choices, simply because your brain is exhausted.
This chart shows it perfectly. On the one hand, a day packed with a million tiny decisions just drained your mental energy. But on the other hand, if you can automate those small, trivial choices, you preserve that energy for the stuff that actually matters. The whole point is to spend your best brain power on your biggest challenges, not on what pair of socks to wear.
And hey, this isn't just some abstract theory. Look at super successful people like Steve Jobs and his classic black turtleneck, or Mark Zuckerberg and his gray t-shirt. They basically created a personal uniform to eliminate a handful of decisions every single morning. That frees up valuable mental space for much, much bigger problems. It's what you might call strategic boredom.
Okay, so we've built some momentum, and we've learned how to conserve our energy. Our third habit ties right back into rewiring our brains for long-term success. It's a classic, but it is so important. The skill of delayed gratification.
Let's be real, our world is built for immediate rewards. The phone notification, the sugary snack, the next episode that autoplays. Every time we give in, our brain gets a little hit of dopamine, which reinforces that impulsive pathway. But the real power, the real brain-building stuff, lies in doing the exact opposite. This is neuroplasticity in real time. When you choose to go for a run instead of staying on the couch, or to save money instead of making that impulse buy, you are literally, physically strengthening the part of your brain that handles self-control, your prefrontal cortex. You are making discipline your brain's new default setting.
So, let's tie this all together. These habits, winning the morning, cutting down on decisions, delaying gratification, they might not sound flashy. They're not going to make for a dramatic movie scene, but they are the absolute bedrock of real, lasting change. Let's call it the boring revolution.
I absolutely love this because it totally reframes the entire idea. What we might call boring is really just the quiet, relentless power of consistency. It's showing up every day. It's making one more small choice in the right direction. And that is a true superpower.
So, the toolkit you're walking away with is simple, but it's incredibly powerful. First, build momentum by winning your morning. Second, conserve your mental energy by fighting decision fatigue. And third, practice delaying gratification to literally rewire your brain for self-control. These are the engines of your transformation.
And that leaves us with one final thought. Forget about the massive, life-altering gestures for just a moment. What is one small, simple, maybe even boring thing you can commit to doing tomorrow that will start carving a brand new, powerful path in your brain?